music, you actually need the hiatus. You need the rest to be able to come from a place that like you're filled.
That feeling of like people seeing you and you seeing them and that energy exchange, like, wow.
I understand why big artists who tour are on cocaine.
There's a certain duality you probably have had to exist in, being a career woman and then also being a musician.
To this day.
How do you manage that?
Mama always said, be careful of those island boys.
Hi, I'm Amanda.
And I'm Rumbi.
Welcome to It's Layered Podcast.
We're under the Black Cast Network, powered by iHeart, and recording in studio today.
And we've been laughing already before we even started this episode.
Vibes immaculate.
Because here in Bittersweet Studio and with this beautiful setup done by Pink Lady Picnics, we've got a beautiful guest, Niasha.
Hello.
Welcome to It's Layered. Like, let's let the people know who you are, okay? So that they can put some respect on your name.
Let's give
all
her
right?
flowers.
All right?
Let's
so they don't just come incorrectly, okay? Niasha truly personifies the saying that dynamites come in small packages. If you're watching this on the video, you'll see she's looking like fire.
Mamacita.
Okay?
Fuego,
Pow,
fuego,
pow,
fuego.
pow.
Cueing the sound effects.
Yeah, exactly. Wow. The Zimbabwean-born singer, songwriter, rapper, and spoken word artist based in Melbourne, Australia, attributes her upbringing in Zimbabwe as paramount to her sound and development as a creative artist.
Her creativity and talent have given her the ability to explore multiple genres, and you can never tell what to expect, which she believes is a superpower. A lover of psychology, community, enjoyment, and love, Niasha delves into these themes through her music and visual conceptualization.
Chirungu today.
But we got there.
We got there.
Niasha, welcome.
Hello.
It's so good to have you here. It's so good to have you here.
Yeah.
We were giggling, having the best time before we pressed record, and we're so excited to have this conversation with you and to get to know about you, because honestly, and I think we said it when we spoke on Zoom before, it's, we don't get to spotlight our artists as much as this. It's hard to find and get to really know a bit more about them.
Yeah.
So that's why we're here, and we thank you for making the time to be here.
No worries.
So we're going to go all the way back, okay? We're going to start from the beginning.
For the beginning.
How would you describe the music you make and how you got into it? Like, when did you know that music was going to be a part of you and who you are going to be?
I've always loved music as a child. So if we're going back to the beginning, when I was in creche, I was part of all the musical things, like
Matamborin.
I wanted to play the piano. I wanted to, and the funniest story about all of that is, so my dad used to work in Botswana when we lived in Zimbabwe, and I asked him to buy like a toy keyboard, and he bought the real thing. So that's how I actually learned how to play keys. So that's kind of been the journey and the story. If you grow up in church and people spotlight that you can sing, you're gonna be in the choir.
Yeah.
Big fact.
You're gonna be in the choir. You're gonna be doing a special item. You're gonna be doing something. So that was also my training ground in terms of like developing how to singing in harmonies, the alto, tenor, bass, all that kind of stuff as well. So that's contributed, but also just the music that I grew up around, like right now, Oliver Mtukudzi, all the Brenda Fassis and Malaika, all that kind of influence from all over the place. And then later on, the Lauryn Hills and the different stuff that I listen to now, the amapianos and all that kind of stuff.
But your stage presence is really like something to note. You have an energy and your engagement of the crowd. I think I saw a clip of you at an event, or I don't know if it's a wedding or something, but even just like how you got everyone going. I think it's something that so many people can sing, but not everyone can entertain. Okay? Let's make that distinction. So when you listed like a Brenda Fassie in terms of like your inspiration, like I'm like, okay, I can see that. Like for the performance aspect, could you share like some of your influences?
Oh, those are really tough to think off the top of my head, but I guess you could say Brenda, but it's just more just watching. I enjoy, like, if I go to a concert, for example,
Yes.
I immerse myself in like what the artist is trying to do. So that's why I, like, for example, I like to be there early because I want to see, okay, how are the people here? Because your audience is also like reflective of the type of music that you make, the kind of energy that you give off, and then how they start the show and how they end the show. So every time I go to a concert, you see me with my phone. Like, okay, I like how they did that. I like that. I'm a big learner. Yeah. So I wouldn't say I have one specific influence. I just learn from whoever I encounter.
That's so true. Yeah. And that's why I say, I know people are giving Kendrick Lamar a hard time about doing the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But if you've watched him in concert,
it's
you
good.
will know he ain't no rapper standing there with the mic.
Yeah.
Let's just put it out there.
Yeah.
So I think people have this misconception that, like, oh, he speaks on very deep topics or whatever, he can't perform.
Yeah.
But you are,
Very
not
fast.
at all.
Yeah. I mean, the other Super Bowl that he did, and he had the guys with
Yes.
Yes, right?
That went hard.
notes.
The Dr. Dre one.
right?
Yeah. I remember.
So, I think
That was too
people
good.
are just being haters.
Yeah,
That's just
haters.
the truth.
Haters
I mean,
everywhere.
you've toured just recently with Sampa the Great. Can you tell us more
bruh.
about that?
What?
Yeah.
Bruh.
That's another
Pinch me
inspiration.
moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's. What would you like to know? Because there's a lot
Girl,
to unpack.
What can you tell us?
Everything you can tell
Top
us.
secret, top secret.
Yeah.
Touring with Sampa was interesting in two ways because I've known Sampa for a really long time. So we had developed sort of a friendship in comparison to like working together. So the opportunity actually came because one of her backing vocalists actually fell sick. Yeah, it was really tough for the crew, and we were all in Adelaide for this festival called Warm Adelaide. And initially I was only meant to do like the spoken word that I'd done the previous year. And she sent me the tracks and she's like, hey, there's a song called Black Girl Magic and whatever. Are you able to like just jump in with us? All right, cool. I'm like trying to learn the songs. And then next thing you know, she was like, I mean, the whole set. Wow. And I was like, okay. So I'm getting my makeup ready to go to the show.
Yeah.
Wow.
Trying to figure out the harmonies.
Oh, wow.
That is a true artist right there.
It was insane. We're driving, I'm listening to it. I'm like, okay, I need to learn the words also, learn the harmonies, learn where to go in, where to stop, like, it was just insane. So I just went on that stage, knew what I knew. And luckily, because Sampa is my friend, I listened to her music, so I knew some of the things. I've been to the rehearsals, and we just went and did it. And then after that, her other backing vocalist, Tio, was also a great musician in Zambia, had to take some time off, and then she asked me to join her on tour, and then that's basically...
Isn't that a story of stay ready so you don't have to
be ready?
Like, because you obviously... you know your craft, so you're prepared to learn and understand music and all that. So when you're called in, you're ready to rumble. I know I'm sure it was, a lot to do, but at the same time, I think you built that muscle, right? So that you could step up to the plate, which is a lesson on life.
Because I was laughing and I was thinking, life on tour, how is that? And I'll be like following you and seeing all your, remember you were in like hot take, Victoria Falls. And you ran away, all these
Zambians are coming for me.
But I was like, you know what, remember where she is.
No,
You should
Victoria
represent. So like, how was it being on tour, going on stage? Like, how does that feel day after day? Because I think people just see the end, right? We see you, we don't see the rehearsals, the blood, sweat, and tears behind that. Yeah.
What's so funny as well, like after that, the Warm Adelaide situation that I'm talking about. So she asked me to come on tour. She sent me the music, and I'm learning it. And I thought when we got there, we'd have like a 1-2 rehearsal. We got there, and they're like, "Okay, this is the stage. Like, is tomorrow. We're just gonna have a discussion." I said, "A discussion about the music?" So I was literally learning as I went, like learning, like how to also find my voice in terms of like, because with in-ear monitors, like if you can't hear yourself, you can't hear someone, you actually have to say like, I can't hear, or I can't do this. If you're uncomfortable about something, like actually mentioning. But the great thing about being under someone like Sampa was that she's so patient and she's so understanding, and she wants to make sure that you're comfortable. So she would come up to me and she'd be like, "Are you okay? Are you feeling okay? Is there something that we need to like practice later at the hotel?" Like things like that. She always makes sure that everybody's good. Like she's so humble, and I think being on tour with her was like a masterclass. Like being able to just like sit but also serve like someone else's dream. Like that was That was huge for me, and I learned a lot. Like the way she works, the work ethic. Yeah. Through the tiredness, through all the crazy things that happen behind the scenes on tour, we can go into that.
I can imagine.
Were your family and friends always supportive of your musical journey?
Here
I know
we
you
go.
said crash. People are like, Niasha,
So they thought it was just for like a year or two.
It's cute.
Yeah, it's cute.
I think my family actually didn't anticipate how serious this would get. I think in Zim it's kind of chill because you're like, she's in the church choir, so that's nice. But when you move to a place like Australia, when music can actually be your career, I think it didn't really sink in for my parents in particular yet as to like the possibilities, and also just I think what they were worried about maybe is like the safety in the industry, the stability, and also because I'm not just a musician, like I'm quite like I guess let's multifaceted. You know, I got a degree in psychology.
Claim it, bro.
You're not using your degree.
They were thinking, is this chick not going to be a doctor? Like, what did we expect? This chick is doing my gigs. And you're like, gigs. My gigs. So it was just like, okay, this is cute as a hobby, the thing that you do like after school or during school assemblies, and we can come and watch you in school settings, like in high school. But like pursuing it was really really tough for them. Especially like from a religious background, because, you know, there's always that debate of like, you're either worshiping God or you're secular, you're in the world completely. You're done.
And most of the gigs are at night, late at
nighttime,
night. You're now dancing in front of people, shaking Niasha, shaking Niasha.
She's naked. At
this point. We've lost her.
To the
world. Going back.
I understand their worries, because obviously there hasn't been anyone in our family or someone they can see as a reference. The references that we see are people who are on drugs and they died.
There's no middle ground.
There's
no middle ground.
This went well, so potentially it's like and they went on drugs and they died.
So that's what's gonna happen to you.
That's gonna happen.
So true. And that brings me to the next question, because there's so many misconceptions about being an artist and making music and their myths and all this. What are some myths or misconceptions about making music, being an artist, that you would like to debunk? And why do you think there are these kind of myths or ideas around that?
Ooh, there are many. I think one of the main ones is like people assume think that making music is quite easy. Just like the process of like, you wrote a song and then you put it on a recording and then you released it. Like that process is excruciating. Sometimes like you get, like, for example, for myself, there's songs that I'm still working on, that we started working on in 2022.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And it's like the song is complete, but not yet, but whatever. And then there's some songs like there was one instance we went in the studio. He was like Seiko. I don't know if you know Seiko Keegan. He was playing something on his on the laptop, and then I was like, I have an idea. We wrote the song in one day, and now it was just like fixing it. So that aspect of like, you know, songs can take time. Some songs take years. Some songs take a session. Some songs take, and you actually don't know. And when it will like be completed. Also the fact that like I guess we're always confident is another misconception.
What did Erykah Badu say? I'm an artist and I'm sensitive about my shit.
Yeah, that's what she said. She meant it, because we like songs are our babies. So any like criticism, any like you should try this, you should do that, like we're already butts clenched. So and if you're somebody who deals with perfectionism, that part is like you're nitpicking, you're constantly like it never stops.
True.
So like it'll be like you finish writing the song, you're like, okay, cool, that's fine. We've done the production of the track, okay, that's fine. And like for example, in the process that I'm in, like mixing and mastering a song, you'll be like, I like it, but I don't love it. Okay, do this again, fix this little thing, like that. Nobody will probably even hear.
Yeah, people not a
It takes 2 seconds. Someone won't even pay attention. They'll probably listen to the song and be like, anyway.
I think art is very can be very subjective, right?
Yeah.
So you know your intent going into making it and like what you hope for it to do. Like for example, me, my day job, ain't nobody like outside going to be like, Rumbi, you don't know how to do that, or like you wrote a bad sentence. Like they have no clue what I'm doing. But art is a very like it's you display, you share. It's something really once done. It's out there,
and the sharing can be both ways, right? They share their opinions.
Exactly. So I think that's what makes it even more difficult because you're critiqued by so many people, differing visions. Why didn't you do that? How come? You know, so I can understand why you feel protective of your baby, and then like you feel like it has to be perfect, but. Yeah, wow, that's...
it's
Rumbi
intense.
spoke of the energy you have when you perform, and we've seen it many times. We love it. But how does it feel for you when you're on stage and you're performing for a crowd? And if you can give us an idea of when it's a crowd that vibes and a crowd that...
Like, what do you engage in yourself? For each of
because it's one image from you. But we want to know what we give you back and how that makes you feel.
Yeah. I mean... To start off with, like, because I feel so honored and privileged to have this gift, like, I am grateful regardless of whether people give me energy or not, which is why probably you see the energy, because despite what people are doing, it can add more. Like, if people are already feeding to what we're doing, then it's like, you guys, okay. Wow, okay, we can really... We can really have fun. Hey. Okay. now we can go deeper. So... Stepping and a lot of it also is adrenaline, like just sheer adrenaline. Like you're jumping on, you're about to have a good time. It also depends sometimes whether I'm doing with my band or by myself. I guess the mental thought process behind it is just like you get to show your music. Like these are songs that I'm writing in my bedroom. Is like when I was still living with my parents. This is music that I'm making on my keyboard late at night randomly when I can't sleep or whatever. So now people get to experience like where I'm coming from with the music. In some instances, I can explain what's the the idea behind the music, and you see people just like enjoying and have a good time, and that is just
how does that like that experience of people like giving you energy. That was like I can't imagine. I don't perform. I mean, I've been in choir, but it's a different thing when you're in a group versus. But like that feeling of like people seeing you and you seeing them and that energy exchange, like, wow.
It's. I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah.
It's almost like a soul to soul, spirit to spirit connection. You're like. You see me as a person on a stage, but I also see you as a person, as people. We're here. We all have different life experiences, but we're in this moment together, hearing probably a song you've never heard before, a song I've listened to, played, sung so many times. But we're like our lives have collided in this very moment. To be able to share in that moment. And I'm glad that I can give some like relief or joy or whatever it is that somebody is like coming out to look for, search for.
That's beautiful. I mean, you spoke about having your degree, and obviously there's a certain duality you probably have had to exist in, you know, being a career woman and then also being a musician.
To this day.
How do you manage that? Till this day. Even, I mean, even your tour, how did you even, like logistically?
Logistics.
No, really, because I think people, as you said, you make it look easy. That's just the truth. And social media also highlights that because you see a highlight reel. But we want to know on a day-to-day, what does it take to really make it?
Okay, so disclaimer. So I studied psychology and currently I work full-time in child protection. Wow. So let's start there. So my days can look anywhere to like, I wake up in the morning, I do all the work, and I work with children. So there's a lot of trauma stuff that's happening, working with parents, dealing with parents, you know, because where I work, we deal a lot with play therapy, like reconciliation between child and parent and role modeling, like positive attachments and all that kind of stuff. So it's quite intense work. And then I'll finish work, maybe drop the last child home somewhere in Melton, then I have to drive all the way to Mickleham or Bandura for a studio session that starts at 6 o'clock. And I'm there till maybe like 11, 12, sometimes even 1 or 2. I'm driving at home. I'm getting there, probably haven't had dinner, so I have to cook something up really quickly, in the bed, up again next day to work. And if I have a show or something, that's rehearsals, that's time after work that you have to put in. Sometimes it's like writing. And not only that, because I'm also an independent artist, there's emails, invoices. Someone said they're not available on this rehearsal day, so I have to find another one.
Yeah.
Okay, where are we rehearsing? What are we rehearsing? What's the set list? What order is the set list?
Yeah.
How are we going to communicate with the person on the ground? Like, it's just a never-ending list of things to do.
Can I ask you, because we are recording this at the top of the year, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, I think a lot of us, especially from our background, we have dual interests, right? We have what we studied or the work, the 9-to-5s, whatever, but we also, like this podcast, it's a passion project for Amanda and I.
Yeah.
We love it. We do it with our whole heart. And sometimes you always reach the point where you're like, what am I doing this for?
Hi.
Or like, how do I continue? And I hear you speaking about doing your work during the day and then at night having to, you know, do your other work. What advice would you give someone who's maybe thinking, Janetta, I'm done, it's too much, I'm gonna throw in the towel, like balancing that? What keeps you going, and what do you have to remember to keep going in those moments where you get home after work, maybe it was a rough day, and then the last thing you want to do is try to write a song that's positive, or, I mean, you don't have to limit yourself, I'm sure, but I'm just saying, like, in that moment, you're not thinking about that. You're thinking, I just want to escape.
Yeah, I just want to watch Netflix.
Yes,
exactly.
Yeah.
So advice that I would give to someone who's ready to give up.
Yeah.
I think always going back to reflecting on your why. Like for me, like my faith is a big part of it. So I always have to remind myself, like, God gave me this gift and I have to keep going. This is only the beginning. Like, not to despise the small beginnings. It's going to be tough. Like anything that you do and you want to do well and with passion takes sacrifice. Like you just have to keep going. And in some situations, it actually means taking a break and resting and actually giving yourself time to do that. Because, for example, in music, you actually need the hiatus. You need the rest to be able to come from a place that you're filled already.
Yes.
So it depends on what it is that you go to for filling. Hopefully not the the toxic things. But you need rest.
Yeah. How do you do that vocally, actually? Because obviously even on a tour, you're like singing day after day, night after night.
Let me tell you something about tour. Hey, I understand. Okay, this is gonna unpopular opinion, but I'm just gonna say it. I understand why big artists who tour are on cocaine. I absolutely get why. Because the consistent going, because you have to remember, like, when you step on a stage, right, you're on this like adrenaline, and when you get off, it's you're having so much fun. But like, you have to go to bed and be up at 4 a.m. for a lobby call to catch a flight at 6 a.m. to be in another country.
Yeah.
So it's like that constant, like, what, and also like, because I was coming from Australia, like the jet lag on top of that. So you're dealing with jet lag, you're dealing with adrenaline, you're dealing with, maybe I didn't sing so well in this. This one, I'll try to make sure I practice a little bit more to do this. You're interacting with like my bag. Did my bag arrive? We're picking up bags. We're rushing to a flight. Okay, so we're arguing with the lady at the counter.
Because also traveling whilst black.
And see, all of those things, you get to the venue, people don't even pay attention to you. Or like there was one, the last show that we did, we went, so there's like what we'd call risers. So that's where they put the instruments, or you kind of step onto it. We stepped on a riser, myself and Wanje, who's Sampa's sister, who was also a musician, and we were doing backing vocals together. We stepped on the riser and the riser slid.
What?
Girl.
HNS. Okay. Nobody came to apologize. Nobody said, it was mad. We slid and we looked around like, yo, who was responsible?
Yeah, who's doing this?
I'm sorry.
Excuse me.
Hazard.
What do you
Work
mean?
hazard.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. So you deal with like a lot of things, like little things, and like but tour life is a whole other topic. We need
it's a whole other for sure.
Part two, the exhaustion.
What would you I know we're going to come to a close soon, but I would love for you to share your advice for artists who come maybe from a similar background as we do.
Yeah.
Artists where maybe art is not prioritized as much.
Yeah.
And where, for me, for example, I really think we are a creative people.
Very.
But we have been denied our creative outlets a lot of the time. So what would your advice be, or what do you hope for our people and, maybe our future generations too, so maybe they don't land where we landed, unfortunately or fortunately.
Oof. I think for the young people coming up, my advice would be so cliche, but just keep going and find ways that you can still maintain that. So for some people, the blockage might be like, I'm in my parents' home, so I can't really do things in a particular way that I imagined. Write more. Like you have the agency for yourself to be like, at least in this season in my life, I'm going to sharpen my writing
skills.
Yeah, in this season of my life, I'm going to learn how to sing better, how to have more agility in my voice, how to do all these things. I'll probably learn keys. I'll learn how to do the logic stuff. I'll learn, just do something. Like, don't, when you're faced with an obstacle, then give up completely. Because there's always a way, and you can always find a way. And just trust God.
Why do you make music? And I know you alluded to it, but why do you make music? Because I'm hearing you and this is probably just like the tip of the iceberg of the things you have to have had to navigate and all that. But why do you make music and keep going? Aside from it being a God-given talent and goal.
I make music because it gives me a sense of freedom that's both tangible and intangible. Like on the stage, I feel like, and it's weird because on the stage you can have a persona, but I don't think that's a persona for me necessarily. It's more of like a more, what's the word that I'm looking for?
An extension
an extension, a revelation of the full extent of who I am. Because I feel like when you deal with people, and people don't actually know this about me, that I am quite shy, which is quite strange. Like in person, if I don't know you well enough, I'm quite straight back. I can have a conversation. I've learned how to do that over time. But it's just like you're there, you leave your all. It's fun as well. Like it's actually enjoyable to be able to do that. Music has also been therapy for me in some of the hardest moments of my life that I've been able to write about as well. So it's like journalism, but it's
See, Amanda.
Don't be a journalist.
I'm a journalist.
Okay, support one.
So 2025 journaling. Maybe write music instead of journaling. But so in high school when I was getting bullied, all of that kind of stuff, I would just write. And it's interesting, most of the music that I've written, I will write it subconsciously, and then later on I will sit with the music and reflect and be like, oh, I was actually honestly experiencing this at a time in my life.
To all her bullies, look at her now. Look at her now.
No, God bless y'all. That's all I can say.
God bless for sure.
It's,
sure. I mean, 2025, we're obviously at the top of it. Are there any upcoming projects you want us to look out for? Things you want to share? Let the people know.
All right.
What do you think?
Yes, so many things. I won't reveal too much, but what I can say is that new music is coming out at the top of the year. Okay, we're coming in
strong.
Hot. Coming in hot. Not the mic falling down. We're coming with ginger, and it'll be music that's expected from me, but different from what I've done before. And once again, I love music, so I can. This is not just to brag, but I feel like I can make any music as long as I like it. If you told me to write a country song right now, I could be like, okay, I'll write it, but I'll write what I like. If you ask me to make an amapiano track, I can make it. It'll be
the way you like
what
it.
I vibe with. But it's going to be music from Southern Africa. It's like a blend. mixture of things. I'm just titling Music for the People.
Hey.
It doesn't have a title. It has a title, but I can't reveal it yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's Music for the People.
Exciting.
Yes.
And where can people
Cannot
find
wait.
you?
Yeah.
Your socials and all that?
You can find me on socials. You can find me on Instagram at Miss Niasha. So that's MSNIASHA. You can find me on Facebook, TikTok. My TikTok, hey, that's a long story. I need to come back with a new one because they blocked me. I can't log in. I can't log in since like January 2024. I took a break from TikTok, tried to log in.
TikTok was like,
why did you leave?
You're done. So,
Why did you leave?
so now I have to make a new one. And then on Spotify, all the music platforms is just Niasha. Niasha in all capitals because we come with
Yes.
Dynamite small packages.
Bruh. And small hot packages at that. Let's just say. Thank you so much, Niasha, for your time. Like, this has been so insightful. And Amanda and I are artists at heart. And so we love to celebrate other artists and give them the time to shine.
And we also realize our country can sometimes be late for the pickup when
late
it comes
to
to
the party
artists.
for sure.
Both sides of the country.
And we really want our platform to keep celebrating creatives because we also know the blood, sweat, and tears that goes behind what you
it's
do.
a lot. And especially when you feel like, you know, people aren't, I suppose, supportive, or you don't have the financial
backing,
the resources, the support. You apply for grants, you don't get the grants. Like, it can be really
100%.
discouraging, but there's always a way.
Yeah.
There's always
Amen to that. And the church said amen.
Hallelujah. Take risks.
Yeah. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. This has been another episode of It's Late Podcast. Amanda, it's been great as always.
Yes, and see you on the next episode. Bye,
Bye.
guys.